Hi guys, how you all doing? Hope you're all looking forward to the weekend ahead. Cup final weekend, Newcastle against Liverpool in the Carabao Cup final on Sunday. It's been a long old month waiting around for this showpiece event to arrive, but finally we are there, and you guys will all be heading south to London if you're not there already for Sunday's final, and I'm very much looking forward to it myself. Now all the build up and the noise, so to speak, is out the way. Looking forward to travelling down to London tomorrow morning and being part of everything again, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we get a different outcome this time, and finally that 70-year trophy drought can be ended and you guys can enjoy a day and a week and a month and a year and a decade that you all deserve after so many years of near misses and Wembley failures. So, let's see if we can do it this time around. Obviously, a lot of things need to happen, a lot of things need to fall in place, but we're here again, and I think maybe because the expectation isn't high and there's more hope than expectation, I think it would be fair to say, going into the game on Sunday. I think that's a good thing, because I think it feels very much to me like there's a feeling from within the fan base that anything's a bonus on Sunday, and I don't think anyone's going to be too devastated with another defeat, because it's probably expected against one of the best sides in Europe right now. Of course, they're out the Champions League, but look, if you were to win, it would be one almighty party, because it's kind of so unexpected given recent results and how well Liverpool have done. So as you can see, I'm up at the training ground just now. I'm going to be at St James's Park later on tonight on Sky Sports News from 5 o'clock doing a couple of lives. So I'm planning to do a video from there with my team for tomorrow, what I think the team will be, what the team would be if it was me, and just talking about various different decisions that Eddie Howe has to make. He was asked a few of those this morning at his news conference, so I'll get into that a little bit later. Just looking over my shoulder there, don't know if you can hear that. Digger coming out, perfect timing. Or is it a tractor? It's a tractor, hopefully you can still hear me. Anyway, yeah, I've been here a while today. Got here at 8 o'clock this morning. It's now 1:30. Need to get back and see some of Cheltenham, but I've also got a lot of work to do ahead of travelling down tomorrow. I'm actually travelling from Leeds tomorrow. I'm driving down to Leeds, leaving the car there and getting a train from Leeds. I booked an earlier train from Newcastle straight to London. But it wasn't getting me there till like after 5, and I need to be there a bit earlier, so the earlier train from Leeds gets me in about 3 o'clock. So that's my plan for tomorrow, leaving first thing. Hope you guys all get there safely and all have an enjoyable journey down there, and I hope you're not all too hungover come Sunday morning. Make sure you've still got your voices for the game, because I think that's a mistake that fans can sometimes make. I know you guys probably did on a couple of European trips last year. I know I did last year. 2 years ago, sorry, should I say, at Wembley. Had a bit of a late one the night before, bit of nervous anxiety, knew it was going to be a big day, lots of lives, didn't sleep too much, had a hangover, and it was a long old day at Wembley on the Sunday, so don't want that again, so let's hope I learn my lesson. Let's talk about today in the news conference. As well as Eddie Howe speaking, the club put up Alexander ISAK and Bruno Guimaraes. Just to say now, we've also got a one-to-one with Bruno Guimaraes, which will be shown over the weekend. We also did a piece with ISAK and Jacob Murphy together. And as a sit down I did with Eddie Howe, that will be run at length on Sunday morning, so keep across those on Sky Sports News and Sky Sports over the weekend. There'll be lots, and I'll make sure I post some of it or most of it to my Twitter so you can see it. But yeah, today Eddie Howe didn't say too much. He did say the full squad to select from, and just talked about what kind of place they're in. I feel very much like they've parked last week. They've parked what happened with the issues surrounding Botman and Hall and Gordon, and they've moved on from it. And I look at the squad and I still think it's a strong enough squad to get a result. I still think there's options there. I'll get into that in my later video, but I still think the side and the club are in a stronger position now than you were 2 years ago. And look, Liverpool have got their problems themselves. Trent Alexander-Arnold this morning ruled out the final, so it's not just Newcastle that have the bad news, it happens to other teams as well. Before I get on to Isak and and Bruno. Dan Burn called up to the England squad bang on 9 o'clock this morning, just as we were starting the news conference. What an accolade for him at 32 years of age. Absolutely incredible feat. And look, you know, congratulations to Dan. I do think as well though, what a night it's going to be for him on Sunday if you guys do lift the trophy and he finally lifts a trophy as a Newcastle player and a fan, and then he's got to get up first thing in the morning and go to St George's Park to join up with the England squad, probably not been in his bed from the night before, still wearing his kit. Strange old situation, but the cup final seem to throw these things up. But yeah, well done Dan Burn. Amazing to see that at this stage of his career, and hopefully he can get a cap under his belt. Remember with Jack Colback a few years ago, he got called up and then did he get pulled out injured, or he never got a cap, and hopefully Dan manages to get one. But yeah, just on to what was said today. It was nice to hear from Alex Isak and Bruno Guimaraes together. Bruno is such an infectious character. I was kind of laughing and joking throughout. Really nice bit at the end when Alex was asked how good Bruno is, and he said it's always about how good you are, Alex. How good is Bruno? And he kind of took the mic. He said, really good question. Let me hear what you've got to say. And you can just tell he's such a real character, which you guys know already. We could see that post match on Monday night against West Ham with him singing and knowing the words to all the different songs, and yeah, he lights up a room. He really does when he comes in, and given it's not his first language, he's a real star turner, I have to say. But a couple of really interesting lines I thought from Alex Isak today, although he doesn't say too much. What he does say is interesting, and you'll see it on the headline of my piece here, of my video. He said he likes playing against Liverpool because he gets chances, and you could see him against West Ham the other night. He was, they played 5 at the back, low block, like dug in, made it difficult. He had 2 men on him at times, and he couldn't really get into the game at all. But he scored against Liverpool in his debut, scored an absolute rocket earlier on this season in the 3-3 draw at St James's Park back in December. And he says he likes playing against them because they push on, they squeeze the game just like Newcastle do. He says it creates space and openings, and he's confident he'll get chances against a team like Liverpool. And when you think about that, it's actually a really good point, because you see Alex Isak and he scores in all the big games, and the reason he scores in the big games is the big teams open up to Newcastle. The teams that he seems to struggle against are those that sit in and defend and make it really, really difficult to play against, like West Ham with their 5 at the back on Monday night. So although I was kind of saying after the match that I felt he looked a little bit rusty, not quite 100%, it did worry me slightly. You've got to take into account he was up against a side who were defending deeply and defending in large numbers, and we know Liverpool won't do that. We know that Liverpool play a high line, particularly with Van Dijk. They think they've got the pace over the back to deal with it. I'm not sure Van Dijk does have the pace to deal with Isak at full pelt. I really don't. And I think Isak, and I agree with what he said this morning, he will get chances against Liverpool on Sunday, and in many ways it's a good game for him. So it was a really good point he made this morning, and I think that should whet your guys' appetites if it hasn't already, that chances will come for Newcastle, and when they get them, they have to take them without a doubt. Bruno was funny this morning. He said that he was asked if he'd spoken to any former players about the trophy drought and what it would mean, and he said he's had a couple of chats with Rob Lee, and he said he had a rub of his foot to try and get some luck, but he was then told soon afterwards that it wasn't Rob Lee's foot that scored the goal against Chelsea 25 years ago at Wembley. The last time Newcastle scored there, it was actually his head. So Bruno obviously hasn't seen that goal before, but you can't blame him for that. Isak clearly doesn't know too much about the club's history in terms of former players. The only 3 former strikers, Newcastle strikers he knew or knows is Alan Shearer, Papiss Cissé and Demba Ba, he said today. But look, he's a cool customer, Isak, and he's not. I don't think he's someone who sits and pores over old footage or goes to the library to read old cuttings or anything like that. So yeah, I thought that was quite funny today that Bruno obviously had spoken to Rob Lee and rubbed his foot. But yeah, if the club are cursed, he's done it again. He's rubbed the wrong part of his anatomy to try and get some luck ahead of the game. I think as time's gone on, the more, I'm not saying I see Newcastle winning the trophy, and Bruno Guimaraes said today that he's envisaged himself lifting that trophy for a while now. He's walking up those steps and picking up the trophy. I'm not saying I see Newcastle winning it. I just feel as time goes on, the more I feel Newcastle have got a chance. You know, if you'd asked me a week or so ago, I would have said it's 90-10 in favour of Liverpool. I would say now it's probably 65-35, I think would be a fair representation, and that's because I think Newcastle are in a better place. Yes, they've lost their 3 players, but they've dealt with it, they've parked it, they've accepted it, and I still think, as I alluded to earlier, they've got options. Still got a strong starting 11. They've still got players that can hurt Liverpool. They've got a midfield 3 in Bruno, Tonali and Joe Linton that for me is as good as anything Liverpool can put out there. I mean, Gravenberg's a class act, but Gravenberg, McAllister and say Curtis Jones, are you taking that ahead of the Newcastle 3 on their day? Probably not. I mean, I would say Newcastle's midfield 3 is as good, if not better, than Liverpool's. And they've got the best striker. I mean, Liverpool are struggling to score up front. Jota's misfiring, Diaz is misfiring, Salah's even come off the boil the last couple of games, I think. I know he's world class, obviously, but Isak on his day is the best striker on that pitch between the two teams. Where obviously Newcastle are a bit weaker is defensively, and probably down the sides as well. But look, Liverpool missing Trent Alexander-Arnold, probably their second best player. You know, creator of so many chances and crosses and goals. And then his replacement would be Conor Bradley, who's injured as well. So that means they're going to have to play either Jarell Kwanzaa out of position at right back or Endo at right back. So that's a real come on for whoever it plays wide for Newcastle, whether that is Joe Linton or Joe Willock or Harvey Barnes. And again, I'll get into that later. But I just think that's a real opportunity now for Newcastle in that position with a player playing out of position. Yes, Kwanzaa, if he comes in, gives them more power and strength and ability at set pieces. But I think he struggled in that 3-3 draw. I think he really struggled. I think he started at right back in the game, if I'm right, and he struggled against Anthony Gordon and then Isak at times, and Isak was playing over and helping Gordon out. So yeah, look, I think that helps Newcastle. Does the fact Liverpool got beat on Tuesday night against PSG help Newcastle? Look, I don't know if the players will be deflated. I think that they would have been deflated for the day or two after. I do worry that they'll come out angry on Sunday, I have to say. I think the Liverpool fans will be deflated, and I think that'll help Newcastle because you guys won't be deflated. And again, I think the Newcastle fans will just win the battle of Wembley. You'll be louder, you'll be noisier, there'll be more colour, and you'll help your team more. You'll be the 12th man, and Newcastle need that. And Bruno made a good point on Monday night post-match where he said, look, I know we're not playing at St James's Park, so people see it as an away game, but it's not. It's a neutral game. It's 50-50 sets of fans. And if it's 50-50, Newcastle are going to have the advantage because the fans are so loud and so supportive that they will be the 12th man. So yeah, the more I think about it, the more I think Newcastle have got a chance. I'm not saying I think you're going to do it, but I think you've got a better chance than perhaps you had 2 weeks ago. And I think that's a culmination of the Trent situation, the Champions League exit to PSG. You know, they've got a couple of players having not signed, big name players having not signed contracts. Will they get into their heads a little bit? I don't know. There's a few variables regarding this final, and it's difficult to call. I mean, I still, Liverpool are the favourites, and if I was to pick a winner, I would say Liverpool. But I've got a sneaky feeling Newcastle have got a chance, and I think the fact that there'll be no celebration afterwards, no street party, the likes of Dan Burn now and Bruno Guimaraes and Anthony Gordon, etc., Joe Linton, all going off on international duty after the game, no chance to party. That would be so typical of you guys winning a trophy. You get to win a trophy and there's no party afterwards because the players are gone. That would be very Newcastle, wouldn't it? So that's the kind of thing that makes me think you might actually win it on Sunday. So yeah, look, great to hear for the two of them today. Bruno again saying he's pictured himself lifting the trophy. He said he's excited but not too excited. I asked him if he's getting a cup final haircut. He came in just jet black hair today. Lucky him, having jet black hair. Playing, remember last year he had all the badge thingy then, and it was dyed blonde, and he says he's not doing any of that. He's keeping it plain, keeping it normal, which is quite interesting. And Isak again was asked about his future. Look, I think there's a lot of headlines that have come out about that over the last few hours today. People saying, you know, he's saying he's having a transfer summit in the summer, and you know he's going to open talks. He wasn't. His answers were very wishy-washy, like didn't want to commit or didn't want to not commit. He didn't want to talk about it, and understandably, so he's got a cup final in 2 days. And I think he said something without saying anything, and I think people who weren't in that press conference can dress those quotes up and make them sound more powerful than what they were. I think he was just saying, look, I'm committed, I'm looking ahead to the cup final on Sunday. He did say I'm at a club who are challenging for titles, and that's what I want to do and where I want to be. And look, I'm sure we'll have a discussion in the summer, but I'm just really relaxed about the whole situation just now, and all I want to do is win this trophy on Sunday. So, so I wouldn't get yourself too worried or concerned or excited by anything that Isak has said today, because it was all said in a kind of sort of, as I say, wishy-washy is not a really good phrase, but it was all said in a way that kind of like left everything a little bit open, and he just didn't want to go there, and understandably so. And I wouldn't read anything into what was said today. I think it'd be unfair to be doing that 2 days before the cup final as well. I think all eyes on the cup final, get the trophy back here. Although the team won't be back to party, you guys will, I'm sure. So anyway, guys, leave your comments below. I'll be back with a later video on my cup final team for Sunday. Subscribe if you haven't done already, and for all of you that are travelling down to London over the weekend, safe journey, and I'll maybe see you on Wembley Way. Cheers now, bye bye.